You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my You are my Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Girl, you got me. Girl, you be sorry. touch the sky. Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my. You are my. You are my. Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Freedom coming, coming, sorry, rolling. Like, whoa, you took all my love like you stole it. Got me like, whoa, yeah, whoa. You are my, you are my, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Every time you leave, I come down. So good to know that I need you around. You are my, you are my, you are my. Every time you leave, I come down. So girl, you know that I need you around. You are my ecstasy. When you are next to me, flooding my dopamine. Stay here right next to me. Oh, you make me feel like I can touch the sky. You make me feel like I can touch the sky. Freedom coming, coming, sorry, rolling. Like, whoa, you took all my love like you stole it. Got me like, whoa, yeah, whoa.
Alrighty, everyone, welcome to the IG League Weekday Warriors here. I believe this is week number 11 that we're doing this,
Oof.
but my name is Soren. Joining me, as always, is Raid. Raid, how you feeling today?
Feeling good, especially considering the new skin lines and the patches that came through recently. I'm excited to see how those might factor into play. And of course, the buffs that come with skin lines and whatnot, especially considering it's the Reavers. I'm excited to see those twirls and the knives around.
Absolutely. I think all of our wallets took a little bit of a hit in the last 24 hours.
Oh boy.
But we are going to be getting underway here soon with the first match of the day. It is going to be Livid versus Eclectic Academy here. And it's looking like a pretty interesting map. We're going to be going over onto Breeze. And I do want to talk about something because along with that Reaver skin line that we got, the one that's making everyone's wallets just a little bit lighter, a little bit of some updates for some characters. The ultimates were changed for Jet and Neon, but the big changes of the last patch, of course, come out with the Chamber nerfs that finally came out.
Mhm.
And as we're going into Breeze, I mean, Chamber is kind of a pick for all the maps currently in
Yeah.
Valorant. But how do you think, these, the shortened distance and the longer
Mhm.
times for the cooldowns are going to affect specifically on Breeze here?
Yeah, the change in duration and whatnot, specifically, with the ability to take space with, his trademarks and whatnot, definitely can make it a lot more difficult for him to get as much value. We've discussed previously, and I think everybody can agree on the general idea that Chamber's essentially a sort of like proto duelist, a fusion between being a duelist and a sentinel at the same time, because his utility isn't necessarily locking down a site or a flank or anything like that, especially considering the nerfs that happened a while ago of bringing down that trip down to 1. Um, I would still dare say that with the Tour de Force and the Headhunter as good as they are, it is most likely that he could still be played. But at the same time, I do think it opens up pathways for maybe more consistent Sentinels to be picked. But
Yeah,
that being
absolutely.
said,
It doesn't
looks
look like
like,
we're gonna get much.
yeah, right.
Yeah, we are going to see the double chambers. Only one's locked in so far, but I mean it's going to be pretty consistent. They're seeing a little bit of a hover of Yoru. I mean, we've seen it before. I think of just in the
hmm
last Masters, we saw the Yoru get picked on the last map of the entire tournament.
hmm
Didn't quite go into the way of PRX, but I mean, not a terrible pick. The Jet is probably a
Right.
lot more of a
Right.
safer option here. But I think we're seeing pretty standard setups. We're seeing the Vipers, the KOs, a little bit of Sky, Sova action. I
hmm
don't think it's really anything crazy here on the agent selection screen. What
Yeah,
are your
no.
thoughts?
Yeah, no, we're seeing I would dare say very, very standard comp. Um, like I was saying before, Chamber can still absolutely be played well. He's still a menace at long range, and of course, because we're coming into Breeze, there is a lot of long sight lines and whatnot that can be, utilized and punished as well on the side of Chamber.
Select your
The
agent.
only difference that it looks like we might be seeing here are in the initiators, which makes sense because, of course, Viper is such a pivotal piece of any composition that you run on Breeze, just because of all the lineups and specifically that wall as well that she has in her kit is just amazing to take space on attack. So I'm not surprised that we're seeing this composition. The only difference is between the initiators of KO and Sky, both of which, depending on, the playstyle of the teams, is a pretty standard pick all around.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to, keep our eyes on here is a little bit of a change when it comes to Chamber. It's very, very minor, but it can affect the
hmm
map in a very specific way.
Cool.
And it's actually that the increased price of the Headhunter
hmm
shot. It's only 50 more, but that 50 is going to make a big deal in the eco rounds, which the Headhunter has been famously just
Right.
dominant in over the
Right.
last like 2 or 3 patches. So just seeing that little bump is going to, adjust how we see these eco rounds play out, and maybe
hmm
we're going to see a little bit less of a dominant force in the chambers.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because you can't fully buy out the headhunters and whatnot. If I'm doing mental math correctly, you can only actually buy 5 of them. So I'd be curious to see if maybe they might opt for just a few, like 1 or 2 headhunter shots, and then maybe something along the lines of like a ghost.
Absolutely, but the attack is going to get underway quite quickly here. The Viper wall is down. It's going to section off the site. It's going to allow them to get spiked down without any frags going out on either side. I say that, but strategy immediately finds that opening pick. A very disgusting headshot emerge finds the trade, and here we go. It is in full force as the defenders try to retake, and
One
it's
enemy
looking
remaining.
quite clinical here from the attackers. Jacket,
Okay.
the final 2. There we go. That is going to be a pretty nice opening round from Eclectic Academy here. Almost a flawless, not quite. 4 of them still left standing.
Right. That was a pretty...
Vandal?
A Vandal? Oh,
3 Vandals?
I mean, if you can make it work, it's absolutely worth it, because then you could be coming into the next round, right? You could be coming into the bonus with hopefully a bunch of rifles in hand. But it's definitely a gamble. It is definitely a gamble, and it looks like they should be coming into this round unbelievably confident, especially considering there's nobody stacked on the actual site of A. Oh no.
Looks like it's going to be a pretty aggressive...
Wait.
Oh, drag.
Oh,
Is it gonna get
definitely
caught
saw
out?
them.
Spike planted.
Oh, they definitely did. And like you said, there's no one on A to stop this plant. And pushing through. Ooh.
One enemy remaining.
One goes down, but it's clinical. You have, what is that, 3 Vandals on the side of the attacks. It's a risky gamble, but they come out on top. They secure it. They save the 3 Vandals. And this actually does put them in a pretty good spot just to convert this. They're still going to be at the rifle disadvantage, but it's a lot closer than it normally would be. And if you can get 1 or 2 key picks really early in the round, this is very winnable for Eclectic, despite the bonus.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, this of course, this is, you know, what they were hoping for, of course, taking in a bunch of different rifles into the next round so that this bonus is going to be much more even in terms of the arsenal. Especially considering Eclectic has been absolutely dominant the past 2 rounds. I wouldn't be too particularly surprised if they had a similar showing, but I'm interested to see because... Oh, they're going to take this quickly. Yep. Oh.
Trapped in that corner. It's going to get gunned down by 3. Jacket does find the kill. Luffy with a nice clean headshot into that back corner, but Eclectic here. I said if they can get a few good opening picks to start off this round, they have a good chance of securing it, but it's just clinical from them. Strategy does find one though. It's making it costly, but Jacket picks up the 3K, picks up the round. That is going to be the bonus going into the way of Eclectic like we predicted, and just might. And I mean, that's just a strong opener. It's going to be really hard here from Livid, for Livid to crawl back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Considering the fact that there was hardly any real damage that was dealt to Eclectic either, and this is not something that I like to point out too much, but I think we've both been waiting with bated breath to see what would happen there at the bonus round, considering the arsenals were going to be much more even. But we were looking at it pre-game and even pre-stream, the sort of rank differential here, and just that amount of experience and just sort of raw skill is seemingly coming into play here.
Yeah, absolutely. But they're still trying to put up a fight. Boom, finding that opening kill on the Roofie. EQ bread. There's 2 breads in the lobby, so unfortunately we have to figure out a way of differentiating them. But that's some bread on bread violence.
Oh my goodness.
Taken out, and one by one they fall. The last one standing is Strategy with a very nice looking just hiding away, trying to see if they can, you know, maybe get 1 or 2 extra. Merge gets the final kill, and you know that wasn't eco. That was expected to go into the way of Eclectic, but it's looking like a really strong start here, especially Boom with that operator.
Absolutely. Now, if you know you're on the side of Livid and whatnot, you're having to, of course, swap something up. You know at this point that you are not going to win a one-on-one. You're not going to win the gunplay because Eclectic is clearly outgunning them. Their shots are clean and crisp, and unfortunately, as of right now, the showing that we're seeing, Livid isn't necessarily on that same par, so they might have to play a little bit more for util and just preventative measures, more than trying to challenge them before they get that space.
Absolutely. Here you see Red pushing the site very aggressively, swinging around, finding the one.
All right.
So Drag does find the trade, but Boom in the back line with the operator takes down Strategy. That's a big hit for them. Spike goes down. They begin to actually pull off the site. They're playing for this post-plant setup. The only one really on top of Spike is Merge. And picks off Helen while they're in the Skydog menu. Can't really fight back. And here we go, Boom again with the boomstick. Finding the second now. Lucky has to do it all. It's going to be round number 5 going up to 1.
No, it is. It's difficult, you know? If you're on the side of Livid right now, you were coming up against people that have proved themselves time and time again to get to the point in which they are on the ranked ladder. We have quite a few decently high Immortal players on the side of Eclectic. And so, I hate to see or say that teams might have to resort to playing a little bit more of a ratty composition or style, but it might not be a bad idea to just try and get themselves on the board right now, because Eclectic is just going to continue snowballing, and I mean, if Livid can't get on the board, they're going to be stuck between a rock and a hard place in the second half. Ready on round 6 right now. It's not looking hot.
Red immediately pushing through, finding 1,
Ugh.
2.
Oh, come on.
Finds it. 1v5.
No, don't do it.
Push for the ace, then that's it. That's going to be the ace going into the way of Eclectic Bread. It's a little unfortunate. I mean, I don't think anyone is surprised per se. Like you said, the rank differential is there, and it's a very steep hill to overcome.
Right.
But at this point, it's a little bit of a slaughter. I mean, I'd love to see Livid here pull a round or 2 back, show some fight, but they're going into this. They're forcing through the buy. It's going to be a judge in the hand of drag, and it's actually going to be pretty much a full save for Luffy, who's going to pull out the Tour de Force, which could cause some serious damage here. It's the first time we've seen it pull out.
Yeah, no, it very well could, and hopefully it will. But Boom still having that operator in hand is going to be more than enough to deal so much damage.
It's confidence at this point. It's
It
knowing
really
that they have the muscle to back up the threats. They're just pushing through. It's relentless. They're just taking space because they know they can take it. And right now, I think Luffy with this the only thing that can cause some damage. Very unfortunate. Runs into Boom with the boomstick, as I said earlier.
It's just right. It's the stark contrast, and we see it in Valorant, and oftentimes you'll see those videos, and you'll have people that complain and whatnot about, oh, somebody's rank in Valorant really doesn't matter. It does to a certain extent. Of course, it doesn't necessarily mean that when you're in a team play, when you're in a tournament setting, just because there's a difference between maybe like Ascendant and Immortal, even Diamond and Immortal, doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the make it or break it factor. But when you go from a gold average up against an Immortal average, it's just that raw skill, because
oh, that's so unfortunate. Drag had a really good opportunity to cause some damage there, but the visual is just not quite coming through. Red runs into their fellow Red and will get taken out, but Merge swings through, finds Helen, Crush finds Bread, and now, as we've seen so many times before in this map alone, it's going to be a 5. Down to the last one standing, only is standing for a little bit longer than their fellow teammates as they fall. It's going to be 8-0, and a quite frankly dominant first half.
an unbelievably dominant first half, and continuing with this momentum, and the amount of kills that Livid has is a total of 8, which is half the team of Eclectic has more than total kills currently that Livid has as a team, which is rather unfortunate. And this is not any saying to the skill or team play of Livid right now. It's once again just that fundamental difference that there is no team play coming out from Eclectic. It's just confidence in their team play, or confidence in their gunplay rather. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. The raw mechanics of the game do matter. You can see the mindset, you can see the thinking here in the side of the WeekDay.
All right.
Now they're going to be running right into the Viper's pit. Luke will fall. Both Hunter Fury get invested. Merge. I was going to say he's not going to find anything, but will find some chip damage for Helen. Only with 26 to work with. Now down to 0, and now
ahead.
2 left standing, and like we said before, the confidence, being able to just take the space they know they can take. not even on spike. They're just pushed out, hunting for those final kills. Drag, only 20 health left in the tank. Make that 0 as well.
There's just...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's such a clear disregard for their own safety right now coming out from Eclectic, and especially Eclectic's Bread, as they are just constantly dashing directly in the face of danger because they know for a fact that they will be able to hit those headshots. And it's just an unfortunate circumstance of how, you know, the pendulum of the lobby right now in terms of rank and just mechanical skill is swinging into the side of Eclectic's favor. And even now, this isn't a showing that we could say would be really representative of Eclectic skill, because they're just playing this right now to pad their KDA is what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a situation where neither team really is able to judge off their merits.
Right.
Because on one side,
oh no!
Mechanics again for Drag gone out there after just does not have the reaction time to swing around. Crush wants another one. The raw mechanics are making it difficult to judge how good either one of these teams are. Again, one upstanding Helen. Bucky in the end is gonna have to do it all. And yeah,
oh
they're just
no.
They're just looking to see who will find them
all
first.
around.
Merge is going to, it looks like they're going to try to get the kill with the shock dart as well.
Shock dart.
Just running away for their lives.
Scanning
Trying
ahead.
to see if they
No,
can save
no,
anything.
no, 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 no. That's just mean at that point. There's, I mean, I can absolutely understand that right now, unfortunately, coming from the side of Eclectic, that they're just not going to be taking this as good fun, because it's difficult for them to really unlock their full potential when they are just clearly like a bulldozer running over the field that is Livid. And though...
Here we go.
Oh man, you know what? This could put them on the board.
This absolutely oh no, boom! The sanctity of the knife!
Boom! Sanctity of knife mid!
Even their teammates are looking on in disgust.
No.
Enemy remaining.
So sad. It's all collapsing. Boom. With the disrespect. Finally falls down.
Gone.
Bread. No one can judge them here for pulling out the weapon.
Oh.
The piece was broken first. Here we go. The true knife game comes out. It's a 1v3. No, no,
Wait, no. No. No, wait. Wait.
They might be able to do it. Oh, the jukes.
Livid bread.
Gets the ace, gets the round.
Last
They
round
also
in the
win
half.
out the duel with their fellow Bread.
No matter what, at the very least, Livid can say that if this ends in a 13-1, they put themselves on the board, and Livid can say that they had managed to pull out an ace against a practically all-immortal team. You know, that's something that they can put down to the books.
That's
Unfortunately,
something you could throw on your resume.
exactly. It doesn't look like we're coming into the last round of the half here, and it doesn't look like either one is particularly interested in knifing down mid, so it looks like that fun little tournament activity might no longer be...
This is a really good start. They do find 2 to begin with. The Crush finds that trade in response. It's 4-3. The Milkman is invested. He's been waiting. The Crush is going to push out, and the Boomstick
You want to
is
play?
going to
Let's
find
play.
yet another one. 2 ultimates invested. They're looking to secure this final round. But it's 3-3. This is actually the closest it has been, I think, in the entire half, despite, of course, the last round.
Right, of course. Alright.
Get another one, brings it to a 2v3. Boom's missing their shots. So the trade comes out from Crush. Crush coming alive, finds 3.
Wait, no, wait.
Luffy finds 1. 1v1 situation. Crush has no information. The tap comes through. Luffy has so little health. It doesn't matter. Oh, so close, but yet so far. Crush,
Switching sides.
dashing the hopes and dreams. As the half switches, and now only 2 rounds away from a map secured in this first round. And I mean,
Right.
it's a bit of a shame, but I don't think anyone's surprised. I'm just glad the teams are having fun out there.
Absolutely. And that was unbelievably close, and that was a legitimate try and round from both teams there. And so that was actually a pretty good showing from Livid. Unfortunately, every single member of Eclectic has shown here that they really don't miss their shots. And that is exactly what happened in the round prior.
Leave them
Now,
no escape.
maybe they might be able to show something a little bit more confident
Scanning ahead.
in their attack, as they're wanting to definitely aggressively take that down mid,
Down
but
B.
Boom, pushes through.
Alright.
The strategy does get the trade. And I mean, this does mean a lot here. Merch jacket
Oh, no.
does
Oh,
find
no.
2, and now
One
the
enemy
Princess
remaining.
Luffy has to do everything. Can't do it all. I mean, like you said, it's a little stretch. This is going to be that point, but I think
point.
one of the key takeaways here is that despite going up against this massive challenge, the massive rank differential, I think it means a lot that they're still actually trying. Like a
Oh,
lot of
yeah, no,
teams, a lot of
absolutely.
people would absolutely. The moment you get to like 9-0, 10-0,
Mhm.
the moral is shot and they can't do anything. But the fact that, especially in the last round of the last half, the fact that Luffy was still putting everything on the line and doing everything he can, brought it down to that 1v1. It shows a really good mentality behind this team, and
Also,
it's something to be proud of.
Right. Man,
Boom, it's just a monster.
it really is just a monster right now.
Red. There we go. The pick
One
comes through. One left standing.
Spike
It is
down
map
A.
point. Brad does find 2. It looks like they might be trying to go for a knife. Oh, the shock dart. Nice.
Oh.
Secure the kill.
Give up on trying the knife here.
We only have 3 health here.
Oh.
There we go. That is going to be it.
Defenders win.
It's going to be a rough map for a little to take, but again, they can have some good takeaways. Everyone had a good time. It's just a
Right.
little bit unfortunate that, the balance wasn't there in the draw.
Right. And at the very least, if you are livid, you can look at this with at least one positive light here, and this is experience, right? Something that you can learn and get educated in, just a tournament experience in general, and that gap that is currently between you and some of those teams that are in Immortal. And it's something that is much more almost something physical that they can grab onto and that they can continue to aspire to achieve and attain. That's a goal, something that hopefully they can grow into and will be much much easier for them to grow from. They can look at what exactly happened, how they got dismantled, unfortunately, and hopefully apply that to their own play.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not the end all be all. It might be the
Mhm.
end of the run today, but this is surely not the end of the team. I'm glad everyone had a
Right.
good time. You could see in the chat that they
Mhm.
were asking for advice and stuff. So
Right.
just a good bunch of guys all around.
Mhm.
But that was quite a quick game, but we are going to be going into another game here soon, but it's going to be after a short break. But before we send you over to that break, just a couple of quick announcements. If you were here last week, you already know the deal. The 27th, the 28th of August this month, we have $1,000 prize pool tournament sponsored by the Neon Black. And I mean, it's going to be a big tournament. Come check it out. It's the biggest one we're going to be having so far here on IGL. And it's going to be a good time, good Valorant. If you enjoy today, come check it out. Again, the 27th and the 28th. And of course, we've been promoting it all month. But as well, we have the solo arenas over on the IGL website. It's a private matchmaking service. Come check it out. The first 100 people to sign up for it get their first month for free. At the end of the month, you can win prizes. It's a good time. And if you're one of the first 100 people, you can get some free prizes just by playing Valorant. I mean, what's the harm in that? Just sounds like a
Why
good
not?
time
Yeah.
all around. Yeah. And of course, all our socials, our website, Discord, come check us out if you're watching. A bunch of great stuff coming up, some that haven't even been announced yet. So come check it out. But that was the end of the announcements for now. We will be taking a short break. We'll see you in just a little bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Same two casters, Soren, Raid, back at it again. And we're going to be going into round number 2 of the IGL Weekday Warriors series here on IGL, of course. And next up, we got Centurion versus Unify Esports here. And looks like we're going to have probably a little bit of a closer game here if we're looking at the ranks here in the lobby.
Definitely. And if, of course, anything is to be said about ranks, considering the last game, looking at it here, they're much, much more balanced across the board. So hopefully we should be able to get some solid rounds and some solid play out of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like we are going to be starting out on Ascent. And it looks like it's going to be Unify here on the Defenders. And Ascent is a very interesting map, in my opinion. It's probably
Mm-hmm.
the most open. I've said it so many times before, but
Mm-hmm.
the agent pool is just so wide.
Right.
You can play just about anyone you like. The only agents I really think that don't really have a spot is really Yoru and maybe Neon, 'cause I don't think that this map
Mm-hmm.
facilitates Neon's quick
Right.
pace quite as much. But what are your thoughts here? Are you expecting any specific agents? Because I do know some are far more popular than others here on this end.
Absolutely. I know that Omen is quite popular here, and I wouldn't be too particularly surprised if we saw that. I know that, of course, KO is also extremely popular here, but once again, like you said, that this is such a versatile map that there's a lot of different compositions, and the mass majority of agents in Valorant can fit into play here on Ascent. Um, yeah, I know I've seen a lot of Omen because, of course, that blind in particular is just
Yeah.
so amazing, and there are a lot of sort of more narrow hallways and lanes that can just be completely blinded from Omen's utility. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw that.
Yeah, absolutely. Omen is definitely probably the strongest
Hmm.
controller here on Ascent. We're also seeing a lot of Astra recently, which I personally love to see. But we're seeing at least one team start picking out the agents, and it looks like it may be a little bit more of a Sova and a KO setup. But I know Fade has also been really, really good. The Haunt is just so
Oh,
good at clearing out.
oh,
Oh, we're going to be seeing a double duelist
Reina
setup
Jet.
with
Are we back?
oh.
Is this 2021?
It's on a
2020?
2020
Yeah,
Ignition
2020.
series. Is with double initiator, or is this is a very interesting pick. Over on the side of Centurion, a little bit more standard. We're seeing the Sova, the KO, the Omen, and
Right.
we're seeing that opping duo of
Infinitely more
Jet and
standard.
Chamber, which I was gonna mention is kind of like looking like it's probably going to be coming back more meta, especially since the chamber nerfs are coming out. They're probably a little
Right.
bit more level.
Select your agent.
So why not just run both like we saw in the past? But we're going to be seeing double duelists. We're going to see, and there we go. It is going to be double duelists with one of each other category, and it's going to be an Astra,
Interesting.
Chamber, and Fade paired with that Reyna and Jet. And I want to talk about Reyna here for a second because
Mm-hmm.
I know in the current meta, Reyna is coming off a little bit weak. I feel like it's really starting to feel like there's other agents that fall under that duelist category that can offer the same utility. And some I think of like KO that basically
Yeah,
offer the same utility, but more as a utility
absolutely.
agent.
Absolutely. And, Reyna has a tendency to shift a little bit more over towards individual and ranked play. It's not been too hot in the competitive or tournament scene because its team play isn't necessarily the greatest. Like you said, there are plenty of other agents that have similar or even better utility that then just have more that they can do. There's a lot more plays that can be done, and they can offer up so much more versatility of play when it comes to playing with a team. So I'm excited to see if maybe they're going to kind of throw all their cards
That's a
on the
good
table
spot.
and do their best to play around the Reyna pick, and maybe we might see something extreme come out from Alexander, because that's the only way that I can find Reyna really working, is if that's kind of the ace or star of the team.
Absolutely, it kind of has to be.
Mhm.
Reyna, like their whole kit is built around
Right.
getting those frags. I mean, you can't really use either the dismiss or the heal unless you get that opening kill. But
Right.
looks like Sarah is going to find the opening kill over on the Astra,
Mhm.
over on B on the other side of the map. They are going to
Woo!
be tricking out, and Alexander is going to get domed by 185 in the mid space. But
Oh,
Blank,
no.
oh, that's just highly unfortunate. That's just very unfortunate. Blank A finds
Spike
2
down
in mid, but will eventually fall. It's now a 2v2. Last 2 attackers are sitting over in mid. Oh,
One enemy
no.
remaining.
Ooh.
Tragic. Omni with that headhunter. Finds 1, and now Reiki is the only one left standing. Only has 40 health to work with. That Prowler, gotta spot them out. They know exactly where they are. And here comes the pincer, the haunt. There you go. Know where to run, know where to hide. They're just gonna have to take these duels and hope they can take him one-on-one. They do a little bit of damage, only 24 health to work with. It's looking a little bit scary. They know where the last 2 are at, but that's it. That is going to be the first round. It's going to be picked up by Unify Esports. A little scrappy. Also, quite unfortunate there, especially for ZJ, who tried to run over
Right.
back and just got caught out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, of course, when it comes to picking up the first pistol round and anything, it's not particularly telling of how the rest of the half or just the rest of the map is going to go. But of course, it does set them up quite nicely because they're going to be coming into this with the excuse me, the anti-eco round, and they're going to be 4 Spectres with full shields on the side of Unify, and hopefully we should be able to see that Reyna pick up a little bit more steam here, because that Spectre should be a lot better. I'll say
Down
that.
with that frenzy.
Whew.
Lethal comes out on top. There we go. We're seeing that Omen flash come through, completely almost clear out. Omni just managing to miss it, but is going to be pushed back in response. And Zara with the Spectre is going to find 1, 2, 3 in that back corner.
Woo!
Omni gets that final kill, and Zera in that hell is just causing some havoc. And that is going to be second round, and it looks like they're going to force it.
That works.
Blank, oh, maybe not. Blank A did tease us a little bit there with that operator pickup, but not quite that. It looks like they're just going to be doing a save here. It is going to be a full buy coming out from the side of Centurions,
Oh?
and they're going, maybe?
Blank might actually be pulling out the operator, which would be interesting. That's a lot of investment, and it looks like they are going to be committing to that. They have to get something done with the operator here to make it work, because if they drop it and it goes in the hands of Centurion, that's going to be so bad! Oh no!
Absolutely tragic. They can't pick it up yet, but they also have eyes on it, so they know that no one, and it looks like Omni's gonna be the man on a mission trying to recover
Ooh.
that operator. But they're gonna be running into ZJ, who looks like they want it. They're hungry for it. They know the damage that can cause, especially with their full buy already in hand. And there we go. Omni's gonna be pushed off. The operator is in the possession. Omni finds that opening kill. Alexander falls. Spectre in hand is only able to do so much, and Zera is waiting patiently for them yet again. In this off angle, we'll find 1.
Player standing.
Not quite able to secure the second, and now Envy, last one standing, has basically full utility here. That is a nice haunt that will actually spot out both of them on site, though does not spot Lethal, but they do see him. There's only so much you could do. There's 3 of them on site. That is going to be their first round win. They're not able to pick up the operator, though. It doesn't even seem like they wanted it. It was probably more of a denial tactic. And like you said, that was a huge investment coming out from Blanke there specifically. They only have 50 to work with in this round.
Absolutely, and Unify was able to deal a little bit of damage over towards Centurion, of course, but the majority of that round went as you would expect, besides, of course, Blanke pulling out that operator and getting immediately doned down on Cat. That was rather unfortunate, as of course making it so they can't buy anything else other than a Bucky right now, even though that they're committing, of course, to a full buy, so we'll see if they can make up for that lost bit of cash. Ooh.
Blanke
Oh, then we get fully cleared here.
sitting in this corner. They might just wait patiently. This could actually be a pretty good situation for them. If they end up pushing into B, they go to clear out that boathouse area, try to
Ooh.
close the door. They run right into the barrel of that Bucky. So Envy might have something to say about that in response. 185 is not going to get spotted. I don't think they do, but I think they're still worried. Yeah, they're still jump peeking. They're still looking. Actually, it might warrant an investment of this haunt here. About to play in the smoke, possibly? No, they're just going to pull back. It looks like the setup is going to be leaning over towards B, as they're just waiting for their final teammates to get into position.
It's such a quiet, it's such a slow play. They'll explode out here. Oh, oh!
Two? They find two off of that, like you said, maybe just enough to make it worth it. Envy does find the one, sends the Prowler through, will give just a little bit more information. 2v2 as Lethal finds the kill on the Dumbzera. Spike finally goes down, only 10 seconds left on the clock. Ooh, the C's comes out. One, Wick can't hear anything. Lethal, the only one that can get any sort of information, but they actually don't push through on it.
Teleport's ready.
Smokes come down, and this is going to be a pretty rough retake for them. They're already low on health here, so the guns are even.
I'll find you.
There we go, that haunt's going to come through. I don't know if that spots anyone. No, it doesn't. They're playing really slow here. They need to make their way on the site. They just need to push through it, but one gets taken out. Last one's in the corner. Envy falls. That is going to bring it 2-2 as they're able to secure the bonus and the following full buy round.
Right, bringing that 2-2 is it's looking a little bit fishy for Unify right now, of course. Luckily, that Bucky play did manage to get a little bit of work done off of that too. I wasn't expecting anything to really be coming out of that Bucky play, but the Astra Star turning into a smoke definitely helped with. It was a much slower play from both teams there, that they were wanting to play as quietly as they could because they were waiting to capitalize off of one another, making a mistake. Ooh, Blanquet, that was
right. Yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed that there, but they actually used the Blade Storm trigger to their advantage. Right, he was caught looking up. Lethal does a little bit of damage, not enough to secure a kill, and now mid is firmly taken into their possession. It looks like they're going to push up and maybe run right into Envy, who only has a Sheriff here. Oh, there he goes. The duel comes through. Lethal finds that opening kill. Omni, last one standing in this mid space, has the mini Guardian and the Headhunter to work with, but you can only do so much with that weapon when you're running up against Vandals and such. Alexander at the back of sight is going to get pincered in on nowhere to run, is going to get spotted. Lethal actually does a full 180, gets the kill on the backstabbing. Yeah, Blanket needs to do all the damage here. Finds one, brings it to the 3. We'll get a little bit of information out in the back, trying to pick up that Vandal just enough to do so, and now in a 1v3, severely outgunned. Blade Storms in hand. They only have 2 smokes, 3 knives to work with. 2-1.
Alright.
One with that Vandal, hopefully enough to pick it up. Running out of time, they just need to do something, but they will fall instead. Lethal picking up a 3K on the round, and that takes them 3-2 here. And after a little bit of a rocky start, they lost the first 2 rounds, but pretty solid here. But it is still going to be another full buy round here.
Absolutely, and now is when, because of course we're going to get full buys of utility, the arsenal, and armor coming out from both teams, so hopefully we should be able to see a little bit more of a balanced play, and this should be a lot more indicative of how this half is going to continue. Of course, on the side of Centurion, they have momentum in their favor, but who knows what Unify might do here, and especially with that showmanship from Blanquet in the past round, hopefully with that Jet they might be able to get something done, and Alexander really needs to step up to the plate here to make that Reyna worth it.
There we go. Lethal finds one to trade off of Blanquet's kill over in A main. They take the duel against each other. So Lethal gets some damage, not enough to get the kill, but will come out over on top after that quick trade for damage. Envy waiting patiently, might run into ZJ, but ZJ steals that kill away. 4v3. The null command is invested over on A site. Blanquet completely out, and will spot the hand of Raike and will get the kill. be technically still up. They were in the no command still, just barely, but still. But I don't think there's really any way for them to get back to them in the next 4 seconds to pick them up. So it is going to bring it to a 3v2. It's still in their favor, but Blank A brings it back level.
One
They
enemy
really
remaining.
do something
Oh.
different. Those making it impossible for them to work with. 8-2-2 so far within the first 5 rounds, 6 rounds if you count this one. And it actually looks like Omni is just going to save that family they brought with them. Very costly round for them. They need it. I was going to say wanted it, but needed
Right.
to pick up a round to get themselves back in. But just going to be another rough round for them as they seem like they're really struggling with retakes here. They have yet to successfully retake a site once that spike has gone down.
Right. And of course, looking at Unify's composition is a composition that favors aggression, and of course, aggression favors the attacking side. And so, unfortunately, they might not be particularly in their element, but at the same time, choosing a composition with that Reyna in play that
Right here.
really has not found any purchase on the defense, and we're now on round 7, is... I'm questioning a little bit on what exactly went through their minds and why this is the play that they decided to make, because it's really not working in their favor right now. Because we have not seen the Reyna get a kill yet, and her utility has not been used for a retake. So
There.
Yeah,
I'm
unfortunately.
a
Dying
little
early
confused.
in the round and only getting 1 assist is not conducive to a,
No.
stellar Reyna
Reyna?
gameplay. Attack on Titan?
Attack-
Long show, sorry. But yeah, no, unfortunately, you can still use some utility with Reyna if you get that assist within like the last 3 seconds. But like I said, they only have 1 assist, 0
Oh,
kills.
Blank A.
Oh,
Trigger discipline. Oh.
Blank A finds both. Deadly. I mean, it's a little bit rough for Unify so far, but Blank A with 11 and 6 right now is really dragging the team along. And now this is the best round they've had so far for the 185 is actually going to get noted by that Haunt, but will get the kill.
Last player
Brings
standing.
it to a 2v3, make it a 1v3 on Wick. I don't think they know where he's at, but they can certainly take a good guess.
Now.
And that will shatter the element of surprise as Zero just jumps through. The 3 of them eliminate the last remaining target. And that's going to be the first round for Unify in the last 4 rounds. So back on the board, finally bringing it a little bit closer. But despite, the 4-round loss streak that we're on, it is still only 3-4. This is still a pretty close half.
Yeah, of course. Winning those 2 initial rounds off the back of a pistol is, of course, very, very nice. You don't want to necessarily be in a position where you are 4 down in a row.
Yeah.
But that round right there, I think, was a necessity for Unify's success, because not only in terms of mentality, but just in general, putting themselves back in the board and trying to crush the momentum that Centurion was constantly managing to just sort of roll forward with.
You want
And I'm
to
excited to
play?
see if
Let's
maybe
play.
they can manage to even it out to a 4-4 here.
Oh, 185 though has something
Not a
to say
solid
about
start.
does get taken out. They do luckily have a decent amount of money in the bank, but I don't know if they're going to be, cash rich enough to get another full buy out of this bank position. But now, 185 and gang are pushing up through mid. It looks like a lean over towards
like
A.
trying to-
Will they check right? They will, and Alexander yet again falls. And just pushing up through tree. They're expecting Zera there, so they're going to smoke it off. Really good play for them. Site is theirs for the taking. There's no one there. Here we go. It is going to be another retake for them. 3v5. It's only been so in their success rate so far. 1 of the rounds. They've been able to pull back here. They're gonna have to do it again. Completely shock darted out. Will find 1 though, and here we go. Trades come through. Finds 2. Lethal finds that final kill. Clinical responded by Clinical as 3 are left standing yet again. And here we go. Exactly what I said. Unify's financial position not the best. It is going to have to be a little bit of a light buy. Alexander and Omni both completely unable to full buy.
Right, absolutely. Luckily, they do have the tour de
taking
force,
a
and they
photo
do have 4 different ultimates right now that they can kind of play around with. And we'll see if, we see the tour de force and knives popped by Blank and Omni, respectively. But they need to change something up here because what they are doing is not working. Hey!
Go. And Blank Hay over on the other side did get the kill with that Blade Storm that you mentioned earlier. So this is a much better start to the round. 2 immediately down, but we've seen them come back from tricky positions before and pull it out. They need to cause just a little bit more damage. 1 more kill should, in theory, bring it to a position that really Centurions can't deal with. They do actually have 4 ultimates on hand. Tour de Force was used, so, and Blanky also used that Blade Storm. So I was,
All right.
actually more of 2, and there we go. Only finding ZJ, and there we go. It's going to be a 2 on 5, and now it is just all about damage control here.
1 enemy remaining.
Blanky finds 1.
All right.
Finds the other. Okay. Not too much damage control done, not gonna lie. But, it's a round for Unify. A pretty dominant round, so that is gonna be a flawless.
Absolutely. That was a very nice, confident, flawless. We saw Alexander finally make their way here onto the board with their first kill. They no longer only have an assist under their name, and hopefully we will be able to see those setups continue throughout not just only these rounds this half, but the entirety of this map, because that is something that Unify needs to try and play around. Set up that aggression from Alexander, because that's exactly what we saw over in B main, and I believe that's kind of what set them up from success there. It was a very, very early pick. They popped those knives, they popped that tour de force, they were managing to be able to play off of that player advantage. Oh,
A tries to get over to Wine without getting spotted. Will get spotted by that server drone, and then try to dash back into A site, but unfortunately gets caught out. Lethal has taken site fully, and site is theirs. 4v5. We're seeing yet another retake come out. Unify just handing these sites over and struggling to retake them, but only that's a great way to start it. Shots come through. Duels come through. Alexander
Right.
finds yet another one starting to come online here. Needs to find a few more. Will spot the barrel
right.
of Lethal's gun. Finds yet another
Okay.
third on the board. This is the response we needed. There we go. Picks up 3 in the round. Omni secures the final kill. That is going to be the defuse. Ooh, a little scary there, but that is also the Empress being utilized by Alexander. Possibly what was able just to tip them over the board. Brings them to 4-7-0-1. A lot more respectable on the board.
absolutely. The scoreline showing a solid 5-5. And of course, we've discussed in the past, and it's a general understanding that going as back and forth as we are right now definitely favors the attack. But luckily, it does seem as though Alexander and just the composition from Unify in general is finding its ground and actually managing to have a little bit of supported aggression. That is exactly the usage of util we want to see if they're going to be playing for that sort of retake. And like you said, maybe a little bit dodgy, a little scrappy, but it worked in the end.
Oh, very, very big aggressive push, but Alexander finds 1, able to dismiss away as well. That is going to be really nice, but Lethal finds that counter trade. Envy going down, losing that initiation tool in Fade. Haunt is going to be a massive hit to them. Blank does have the operator, can cause some serious damage. Not quite able to spot out Lethal. Still expecting a push from behind, but there's not going to be anyone there. They're running out of time. There we go. Astral Divide does come out. That's going to buff up the defenders, but the site holders. Those trades come through. Juan, Wick, and Reiki find kills. Zera and Blank find the trades. 1v2. Unfortunately, Blanke, only a scrap of health to work with, is going to fall. Reiki finds the final and the 3rd kill for them.
Last
Operator
round before the switch.
goes right into the hands of ZJ there. Looking a little bit
Anyone
scary,
feeling
but as we
generous?
mentioned,
Teşekkürler.
this half definitely is going to be favored by the attacking side. There's also a double duelist setup on
Right
defense,
here.
so almost
Exactly.
expected that they're going to be a little bit weaker on the defense, but hopefully as we switch over to the attack, I mean, looking over at it, I know Jet is a great entry tool, and Reyna, though not a great solo duelist, is very, very good at playing as a second agent.
Oh, Oh,
Trading
my
out
way.
kills. Very, very
Obscuring
aggressive push from the defense. I'd say it's pretty worth it losing, you know, getting blank off the board is a big hit.
absolutely. That definitely does put Unify in a little bit of an unfavorable position because Jet was their sort of tool in general of retake, and now that is no longer on the playing field, so it might be a little bit more difficult to play as they have been.
It's also their top frag off the board. By far the
Right.
only one who has hit double digits so far on their team, pulling them along at times. So losing that is a massive hit. And there we go. We're actually going to see the null command get popped as well. Smoke comes down, but here we go. Lethal with the Blade Storm in hand. Final round. That get to use all of the kits that they have in their back pocket. Is just going to retake site, and now with the operator, they can cause some serious damage. And yet again, we're in yet another retake situation. Unify have just conceded to completely giving up these sites. Yet again.
In sight.
Ooh, Alexander does find one to start us off. They hear the rendezvous
All right.
from the CJ. 4v2.
One enemy remaining.
1v3. Lethal has to do the most. They're doing everything they can for their team. But despite the rocky first half, despite the chaotic first half, it is going to finish up 6-6.
A little bit of crouch spam here and there from Zera, managing to just sort
Switching
of bob and
sides.
weave out of the way of all of the knives that were being flung their direction from Lethal. And like you said, now we're coming into a 6-6 scoreline on the second half. So this should be where Unify really comes online with that much more aggressive setup with the double duelist. And like you said, Rain is not necessarily an amazing engagement tool, but is definitely an amazing secondary duelist and is made to be able to utilize very individual play and is entirely reliant on gunplay and mechanics. So hopefully we will see that in tandem with clearly Blank's prowess on the Jet, hopefully Alexander following that up from behind, and we should be able to see a much more convincing play from Unify here. But at the same time, you never know, because that was a very dicey first half from both teams, admittedly, on that the latter end there.
Blocking sight.
They're very aggressive.
Ooh.
Will take some space in the site as well. On his shooting hand will separate the defense. Oh no! And the spray down, right? He getting 4 with the ghost. In position to possibly pull an ace out. They know exactly where they are. Blanky does find one, and there we go. That's gonna be the ace. What a good flash. What good positioning from Reiki to secure that.
That was a perfect pop flash down B main. Or B lane, excuse me. That was absolutely amazing, and it was so unfortunate that while they were blinded, they had lined up directly hugging that wall, right behind one another, so just spraying down, crouching with the ghost there, managed to not necessarily get a collateral, but they had the damage needed to just pull out one by one, lined directly up on top of Reiki's crosshair. A little bit unfortunate for Unify, but amazing if you're a Centurion.
Absolutely, and it was a quite comfortable round win for the defense there, so they are going to be able to pick up Spectres, and actually still have a little bit left in the tank, though. Alexander finds one with the classic of all weapons at quite a range as well. Classic, best, worst gun in the game.
Cover going out.
Trade does come out just a little bit. One wick only has 37 to work with, but does have that weapon advantage with Spectre in hand. Doing their best to keep Unify off of sight here. Only 3 of them remaining. None of them actually have any form of weapon besides a classic or the headhunter. And there we go. That second smoke's gonna come out. It's gonna force them to make a decision here. They're either gonna have to just force themselves on the site. They're going to have to try to sneak over the B, but going up against 4 defenders, there's only so much you can do.
30 seconds left.
Cover going out.
So quietly, very carefully, because they want to be able to get that plant down for that plant money. Whether or not they have an expectation to win this.
One enemy remaining.
I hope not, because the The shot
Right.
out, and it's just a massacre over on the entry to A site. And yeah, no, I don't think that went any other way than what we expected.
course,
It did
of
cost
course.
them a little bit. They did end up losing one Spectre, but at the end of the day, they were in a really tricky position. I believe even Wick had another smoke in their back pocket. You know, that Omen smoke being on that cooldown is so nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, full rifles coming into the hand of Unify. We should hopefully be able to see the momentum shift back into their favor. I'm interested to see, once again, they really need to make that double duelist work, and we really haven't seen it come online just yet. But hopefully, with full buys coming out in the hands of everybody on the side of Unify, we should see something happen. That being said, Lethal,
Expecting.
that operator in hand. Third round of the second half.
They're absolutely expecting Blank Hay there up in the mid space. They're gonna swing around. Lethal finds one.
Oh,
Unable to get the kill with the shorty. Blank Hay does eventually fall.
Last player standing.
Alright.
2v1, sorry. Alexander finds that kill yet again. Now officially coming online here for them. ZJ. Only a Spectre in hand is gonna have to do the most here. The attackers run down lane. They get the spike down, and
Spike
CJ knows
planted.
exactly where they are, but only one of them is expecting someone to be in
Teleport's
more
ready.
off position, like over in B main or possibly even in market, but there's no one there.
One enemy
Both are on
remaining.
ZJ. That's
no.
exactly what they need to get back into this round. 1v2 Spectre in this close range situation. Unfortunately caught looking. Sarah swings out just the right opportunity, gets that final kill, and it's their round. But man, is it costly. Only one player gets to keep their rifle in hand. The rest are gonna have to full buy
I
out,
should
and
play
it's
some
only going to be
Astro Stars
rifles
in this
and light
reality.
shields.
That was their round, just barely by the skin of their teeth. That should not have been anywhere near as close as it was. And if you are Unified, you have to be shaking in your boots right now, because that was not a confident round win. And I know we were saying there in the middle of the round that maybe they were coming online, but that was some spotty connection. That was not a play that you can be confident in. That's not a trade you want to take if you're Unified.
No, not at all. And here we go. The attack is firmly in this A main position. Alexander finds that opening kill. Heaven is smoked off. It looks like they're going to make their way on the site. Here we go. Door goes down. Like in a position. Oh, they spot the barrel of the gun, but don't spot the player. Can't get any damage out. Door once again shot down. And now we're in
Take hold.
yet another retake position here on Ascent. Both teams are much favoring this to limited success for both of them. Envy, though, brings us to 2v4.
Last player standing.
Alexander finds 3 on the round. Reiki only has scraps to work with. Umli gets that final kill, and I mean, yeah, I brought it up, but what are your thoughts here? We're seeing retakes almost every single round. Both of these teams' defense have really preferred to just completely pull off a site the moment the attack pulls through and tries to play for retake. And despite a few key rounds relying on like 1 or 2 players of just going off, they've been rather unsuccessful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm struggling to understand maybe a little bit of wanting to consistently play almost exclusively for the retakes, because it's not as though they have a distinct lack of preventative measures. Just considering the agent lineup in general of both these compositions, they have the opportunity to be a little bit more proactive on trying to hold that space, but instead, like you said, they're just kind of giving it up and playing for retake, and neither team has been particularly successful with No!
So unfortunate.
Lethal.
There's going to be 2 of their teammates falling almost immediately as the attack takes the advantage here. Unified. Looking to really put themselves in a position. Reiki caught out by the Prowler. Will find 1 though.
Player standing.
Now only 1 left. Wick. We've seen it so many times before. It's now 1v4. Wick only has 39 health to
planted.
work with. And a sheriff. They're going to have to do everything. Oh, sorry. They also have a judge.
Can't count that out.
Shadows travel.
Oh, absolutely. You never know the kind of damage the smoke actually will come out, but I don't know. They might have heard it. They will hear it. Omni picks up the third for the round. And we're seeing these rounds get traded back and forth. Neither team, besides that first 4-round period where they won 4 in a row, neither team has really been able to stamp a claim into this match.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely fair, Unify has managed to pick up the last 3 rounds consecutively. So it does look like, at the very least, right now, it is their stamp that is currently upon Ascent. But it's definitely difficult because not a lot of these rounds seem to be entirely confident. The last run was definitely a much, much better showing from Unify. And it seemed as though, as of late, what seems to be their strategy of choice and what has managed to eke out the past 3 rounds for them is that they send one person on lurk and 4 people to essentially clump up in a singular point or lane and just as aggressively as they can with that Reyna sort of leading the charge, exploding out and taking as much space as they possibly can. And that definitely gives to forcing the defense to play a little bit more of that. Um, excuse me. Definitely forces them to play a little bit more of that retake. But I don't know. I think the strategy on both sides right now is definitely a little bit inconsistent, to say the very least. I absolutely can understand that Pause coming out and wanting to, sort of think through right now what they can do to shut down Unify's aggression. And hopefully we might be able to see this next round swing into the way of Centurion. But once again, Unify has managed to, at the very least, get themselves back on track of what you need and want to see from them.
Lethal taking some serious damage over on A. Is only 1 away from the Blade Storms, though, so could still cause some serious damage. Much slower pace. Blank on the other side. Also working with very little health in their back pocket. 185 might have also noted Alexander. Alexander, by the way, currently running at 12 forts.
Oh
Oh,
my
a
goodness.
185 with a nice kill on the Omni. As I was saying, Alexander now 12, 14, and 3. Only 2 kills away from their team's second frag. So putting them in a much better position here in the second half. And it's now just clinical for Unified. Despite the timeout, despite having this full buy,
30 seconds left.
the push comes through. And now
Spike planted.
185 in the right here, going to have to do it. Astral Vibe. Oh, sorry, that's not the Astral Vibe. That's just a smoke. The smoke comes through, puts 185 in a rough position. Blanky goes unnoticed.
No, no, wait.
No.
Enemy
Oh,
remaining.
no, and their teammate was even there. Neither
Oh.
spotted them. Blank gets the kill with the knife. Shorty in hand. That's gotta hurt. Both of them. It's gonna hurt both of them.
A bout of rather unfortunate timing twice in a row there, and it definitely seems as though we were having the conversation contemplating the double duelist composition here, and it seems as though, of course, as we had expected, that's going to favor the attacking side, but that has really managed to come out full swing here as Alexander and Blank has really been carrying their weight and coming online here, managing to just wreak havoc on Centurion right now and prove that the attacking half is what they were waiting for, really, to make sure that this map was going to swing in their favor.
Yeah, definitely. It's probably a really good pick for them to finish out on the attacking half. We've said it before. We actually say quite often, you always want to finish out stronger than you start it. Oh, Alexander gets caught out by that flash.
No.
185 finds
B.
one with it,
One
but
enemy
Lethal just
remaining.
pushes through. The Sheriff finds one, picks up the Vandal.
I got the spike.
The 1v2 situation. Runs in
Oh,
185,
no.
gets the kill. Spike is going down.
Spike planted.
We will hear it, and we don't know what to do, what to expect. Pick up the Vandal. They can hear him. Here comes the duel. Blank comes out on top.
Right. Wow. Blank was doing amazingly, of course, and was really putting Unify on their back in that first half, but they've become nothing short of a menace right now, as they've been consistently pulling out hero play after hero play for Unify to keep them here on top of the rounds and really solidify their lead here. I definitely think, of course, Centurion needs to do something. They need to toss up the way that they're playing and not be so ever reliant on those retakes. I know, like we said, both teams seem to rely on it, but it's really not going in the favor right now of Centurion, and maybe they need to play to try and prevent that
Yeah.
initial aggression, but there's so much they can do.
Oh no, Blank just unable. Reed is there, will find two, gets taken out by 185. The Astral Divide is utilized here to make it very difficult for the retake to happen if you have no idea any of the information. The Seas comes through. That will also hit 185, so 185 has nowhere to run. Oh, swings around the corner, finds one, swings back, finds a second.
Man.
Clinical round finish brings us to match point here on the set.
Absolutely, and you would manage to line up your voice perfectly with the announcer in game. Man, oh man, Blank managing to just sort of pop out that amazing frag completely, correct me if I'm wrong, through double smokes at that point in time was definitely a rather nice frag to get there on the board, and of course the rest of the team of Unify just managing to have that sort of perfect team play, close it out, and now, like you said, on match point, I'm not entirely sure exactly what Centurion can do right now. They really don't have their arsenal.
Oh, 185, and one. Right to get noted though. The swing through comes through. Omni, Envy finds one each. Omni takes out Reiki. Sight is theirs. It's a 2v3.
Spike planted.
They're on their back foot. They have nowhere else to go. They're gonna have to do miracle here. Some damage gets traded. 85 health left in the tank for lethal. They have to at least get one more. Get one more, they might be able to do something, but Unify is the one to bring it to the advantage. And now with only a Spectre is going to take one duel. Alexander does go down, picks up that Vandal, tries to do something, gets wallbang, gets taken out by their fellow chamber. They secure the round, they secure the map. Unify Esports are going to proceed to the next round.
Absolutely, and unfortunately the damage had just been done there, and there was only so much that you can do in that sort of 1v3, and especially looking and putting yourselves in the shoes and the perspectives of that player there, that had to be so much pressure on them, and they honestly did the best that they really could there, and as carefully as they could play, there's only so much you can do when you are at the rifle and barrel end of three different well aimed and placed weaponry pointed directly at you. And that was a rather nice wind coming back and managing to skyrocket themselves to 13 rounds, having a solid second half there. And of course, congratulations to Unify for that win.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to point out Alexander there. We thought it was weird,
Right.
that we're going to see this Reyna get
Mhm.
picked on Ascent, which we've seen Reyna get picked up on other maps before, but Ascent is kind of a new one for us. And we question it on the other maps. We question it every other time we've seen it on any other maps.
Right.
But yet again, we questioned it here, and it still comes out on top. Reyna might be a little bit more of a selfish pick, but if you can get to that attacking side, and you can have Reyna following in that jet. You just saw it in front of your very own eyes how just absolutely crucial it could be to a team win. But yeah, Unify comes out on top here. They're going to be going on to the next round. The teams are starting to whittle down now as we're going into the this is the third round. Math, that's communications major. I haven't
It's
done
difficult to
math
do
here.
sometimes, you know?
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
But we are getting into the later stages. And yeah, we still have some really good Valorant, so don't go anywhere. We're going to be taking a short break, but before we get there, it's announcement time. Of course, the $1,000 tournament that we have going on later in the month. You already know about it. It's on the 27th and the 28th. Come check it out. Sponsored by Neon Series Black. Be a great time. Come check it out. It's our biggest prize pool that we've had yet. Only going to keep increasing. as we get to even more cooler events that you'll hear all about over on our website and on our socials and our Discord. Come check it out. But that's all the announcements I have this time around. We will be right back after a short break, so don't go anywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are getting into the late stages of the tournament here today, the IGL Weekday Warrior Series. And next up, we got Hitbox versus Unify. The team we just saw. They put on a pretty good display for us, especially on the attacking half of Ascend. But we're going to have to see how they fare here against Hitbox on the attacking side of Icebox. What are your thoughts
Right.
here? Icebox, very different map for Ascend.
A very, very different map from Ascent, but we've seen Reyna on Icebox before pull out some really wacky plays and actually make it successful. And I would love nothing more than to have a rather unique composition be able to pull out a dub here. So we've seen Unify, and we just saw, of course, Unify. And I would love for them to have such an aggressive and confident attack like they did prior. And I'm just excited to see this. I love Icebox, and Unify was fun to watch, so I can imagine this will be a great game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, love to see the Reyna here. Icebox
Hmm.
is one of the maps that I mentioned previously that we've seen actually a few times be used to great effect
Yeah,
on this map. But
right?
being said, that was a while ago. We saw that a few patches
Hmm.
ago now. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of updates. And I know in the recent patch, the standard has been like double sentinel or even a
Right.
triple sentinel at time, and
Hmm.
that double or single in the shader. So
Hmm.
metas change, shape,
Hmm.
form, especially as different agents. And now, we mentioned it earlier, but that chamber nerf has come through.
Right.
Maybe we see a little bit of a shakeup. Maybe that double sentinel is no longer quite a viable option.
Hmm.
I'd imagine we're still going to see the Sage because, I mean, Sage
Right.
at this
Right.
point is almost a must pick
Hmm.
on Icebox. But I definitely think that the rest of the agent pool is very much up in the air. I'd also love to see possibly a double controller. I know Viper and Omen as a pairing on
Hmm.
this map are insane, especially Viper. Such a strong
Of
pistol.
course, of course. Viper is one of those agents that is like a necessity here on Icebox, just
Yeah.
because her utility can reach every portion of the map and can completely shut down sightlines. So absolutely, if we're going to be discussing any agent we might expect to see here, it's absolutely Viper.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like we are going to be getting underway here in the agent select in not so long. Actually, looks like we might have one player in the restroom, so a little bit longer on our end. But I mean, Icebox, like we said, very
Hmm.
different map from Ascent. Ascent is actually at times quite open, especially the mid space
Hmm.
to play around. But Icebox is open in its own way of sorts. It has a lot of different angles and close corners that you have to check,
Hmm.
and a lot of different angles in those more open areas. I think of
Right.
you jump up on rafters and
Right.
suddenly you have to check like 7 or 8 different
Right.
places where they could
Right.
shoot you from. So very different. What do you think teams are gonna have to look for? Where they're gonna have to play around on this map to, pull out the win here?
So no, yeah, like you were talking about, there are a lot of close angles and whatnot, and the areas that are open are definitely rather open. And I think that what you were just saying earlier, talking about how Sentinels in general have a tendency to be much stronger here on Icebox, that is exactly the reason why that a lot of the utility that can prevent any aggressive taking of space is so pivotal to the map of Icebox because of how close these angles are, that if you allow people to take that space without really any pushback, it is of course going to be that much more difficult to be able to pull out the round. So I think what people really need to be on the lookout for, and what they need to play around to make sure that they can actually close out this map, is specifically putting those hardcore sort of playmaking devices um, on those sentinels and sort of playing around whatever those sentinel picks end up being. You talked about chamber and whatnot. I don't think that nerf is going to hit it too hard in Icebox, because if you think about a chamber map, Icebox is it, right?
Yeah, fair. Fair, absolutely fair. And like you said, they are gonna have to focus on different parts of the map. And the edge
Hmm.
selection is gonna be crucial. And speaking of such, we are going to be getting
Whoa.
underway, and Unify is immediately picking out their composition. And it is actually going to be, oh, I thought it was going to be a triple sentinel. It is so far only a double. We're seeing the chamber and the sage. Killjoy usually the one that gets paired with those combination if you're going to go for the triple. Looks like it's going to be more of a fade and possibly a Yoru. A little bit of a wide pick, I'd imagine. It'd be more likely to be a Raze or a Jet. Meanwhile, over on the other side of Unify, a little bit more of a standard composition. We're seeing the Chamber, we're seeing the Viper, the KO, the Sage. Nothing too crazy.
Of course. A very, very standard composition when you think about Icebox, what Unify is running right now, or is at the very least hovering. That's exactly what you think of when just hearing the word and the name
Yeah.
Icebox. Because of course that double initiator and whatnot is so amazing here on Icebox because of, once again, very similarly to the reason why Sentinels get so much purchase on this map, is because there are a lot of different close angles that the utility, if it's utilized correctly from initiators, can give so much information. Also, those flashes and blinds can be played so unbelievably well. It's unfortunate that we're not going to be able to see the Yoru at the side of Hitbox, because I think that this is one of those maps that Yoru can realistically be played. It's definitely an agent that has a rather high skill floor and a high skill ceiling, but it's definitely something that you have to be wildly and intimately familiar with to actually make it work. So I can definitely understand why they might not pick that. Ray's a much more part of the course duelist pick for Icebox. That Boombot and the paint shells, of course, being able to clear out pretty much all of those small cubbies and angles and whatnot. So to be completely honest, none of the picks on either side here are really eye-catching to me. But that being said, I'm excited to see how they play this.
Yeah, absolutely. Raze, I think, is actually going to be one of the pickups on Wolfie over on the side of Hitbox that we're going to want to pay attention to. You mentioned, the paint shell and the boom bot, but one of the best parts of Raze is actually your satchels, which gives
Right.
so much flexibility and allows you to take quite a lot of space on a site before your opponents even realize that you're there. Oh, speaking of which, Hitbox push all the way up through B long, get a really nice pick, and then immediately retreat back, walled off to keep anyone from going down B long, and they're gonna make their way in. Only one gets traded out. Another push comes through. It's gonna be under tube. I believe, actually, yes, it's going to be caught out alone. Will be able to pick up one trade through the hole in the wall. Cracked. They'll be able to do a little bit of damage. Will take some in response, but the heal comes through.
No
Tries to
charges.
take that duel again, but runs into the bad end of the headhunter. And now it's gonna be a 2-on-2. Spike is actually
Spike
planted back
planted.
towards Snowman,
Last
tucked
player
away in a
standing.
corner,
One enemy remaining.
but it doesn't really matter as the chamber trade out kills.
Flash.
Dunkzera, we've seen them come alive in the last match. Able to make some really nice plays when they're called upon. They're going to have to do it again to secure this first round. The tap will come through. They have the health advantage. There we go. Trade comes through. Dunkzera comes out on top. Unify takes it.
A rather risky round there, but luckily Zero was set up in such a perfect position that, of course, they kind of forced, Hudfame to have to take that corner because they weren't sure when Zero would explode out, and managed to pick him off while they were committed to diffusing the spike. Now, we were so caught up in talking about the composition that we didn't talk about how all of the role changes on Unify were altered. I think almost every single player there on the side of Unify, their role in the agent selection was completely different from the last map.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only one that
Ooh.
is the same is Omni.
Omni,
Speaking
right.
of Unify, Dunkzera does get that opening kill. Exactly what you expect. It is going to be full Spectres on the side of Unify. This is
course.
probably going to be a pretty quick round, but we're still going to put up a fight. Spike goes down, wall goes up, and now the retake is going to have to come through. I feel like retakes are the name of the game, the word of the day as such.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, right.
Envy, Blank, Dunkzera. I'll find one each. One left, Quagger. Gonna have to do the most.
Interesting.
Nice shock dart. Right into the abyss. Some damage dealt, but it's not enough. Dunkzera picks up 3 on the round, gets the final kill. That is going to be the anti-eco going into the way. But yeah, I think Omni's the only one that stayed on the role, staying on that chamber, which, not surprised, usually the chambers are pretty consistent. But yeah, complete swap out. And that's something I did notice. Alexander switching over from the Reyna over to the Sova of all characters. Usually the initiators, even if it's not the same, they usually switch over to maybe a controller or just another flex. But pretty substantial switch from a Reyna over to a Sova.
Well, if you can recall as well, Blank, playing quite the amazing duelist as well on the side of Jet. Now playing
Ooh, that's one.
Sage?
Loosen up.
A little bit of a battle situation. Wolfie doesn't spot them.
Oh.
Wolfie gets taken out by Blank A. That's a 4v4. It's over for Raze. The null command gets invested. Sanjera is going to push through. Now, it's even. And they're actually going to draw a pretty big rotate out over towards B, but now they're rotating over to A. Quagger has a say in the matter, but that say is very short-lived as they immediately get taken out,
Spike planted.
despite having the advantage. IGLeague, the only one on site, is going to have to wait for their teammates because we're actually seeing a very strange position where the entirety of Unify has completely pulled off. They're going to be playing for this post-plant situation, despite having the man advantage. A little bit of a risky play because one could get snuck, especially as there we go, the wall has not been invested. There we go.
Oh,
The
no.
wall is going to allow them to get the
Enemy
defuse
remaining.
off. That's what I was saying. It's so risky to put
standing.
post plant, especially when that stage wall hasn't gone down. You're putting yourself in a position where that spike can just easily be snuck away from you.
Now, luckily, Hitbox did manage to, with placing that wall down, eventually end up defusing the spike, but it was not a convincing round win, and unfortunately, it definitely puts quite the, dampener on their economy, because they're really only going to be coming into this with 2 rifles in hand. And unfortunately, HUDFame, the chamber on the side of Hitbox is only going to have a classic in hand. Luckily, they do have the Headhunter and aren't too far away from the Tour de Force, but still not exactly the spot you want to be in if you're Hitbox.
Not ideal in the slightest. Wolfie trying to satchel away, gets caught out. Blank A. I mean, switching over to that Sage, sure, but at this point just becomes more self-sufficient. The battle Sage coming out from them. Wall goes down. Blank A is actually the only one on the other side of it to take these duels, but will get Sage diffed, unfortunately, by Cracked. Here we go, another situation. Spike on the other side of the wall. They're just going to shoot it down. They're going to set up their own wall. Oh, and so smart from them. Not quite able to stick the defuse, and Dougzera throws the fragment on top of the wall, and it is just enough to get the kills in the last 2. A little sketchy, but they were able to secure it.
A little sketchy, but they had plenty of that post-plant utility up from, Zera, Envy, and whatnot, that I think that they were pretty confident going into wanting to play that post-plant. Hitbox was not particularly in the best situation as their arsenal wasn't amazing, and so of course Unify just managed to completely rip them apart coming into that round. So Hitbox is going to want to at least get a little bit of damage done over towards Unify so they don't come into the next round completely able to snowball like this.
A lot of
exactly what you want to see.
A lot of aggression coming out from this defensive side, pushing all the way through, and actually, the flame, HUD flame, excuse me,
There.
picks up that Vandal, immediately gets the kill, brings it to a 5-on-3, despite the rifle advantage being against them. Blank A though.
Come on.
Finds 2 as an immediate response, brings it back, but now the rifle advantage a little bit more even. Wolfie, the only one that doesn't have a rifle in hand, but does have a Sheriff, and we're actually going to see the dual investment, 2 different Viper's pits on top of each other. 2v2, but man, the health severely favors Unify. Envy finds 1, but IGLeague gets the kill, and they do just barely have enough time.
Just barely have enough time. Man, time and time again, the only way that you can really end up describing towards the end of the round is just scrappy. It's definitely some rather spotty fights, and nothing is particularly confident. Constantly having to invest lots of utility and ultimates there, and of course both of the Viper Pits invested as well to try and close it out, and luckily for Hitbox they did manage to close it out, and we'll be coming into a much better arsenal for this round. The Tour de Force most likely going to be popped for the side of HUDFame, and Unify being able to pull out essentially a full buy. Unfortunately, not rifles all across the board, 1 Spectre, but that won't change Ooh.
Take flight.
Oh, not really at all. Alexander gonna get that tag onto the chamber. They're gonna spot that wall. And they're actually gonna hear it go through. That is gonna be the Sage Wall invested for the side of Hitbox.
Ooh.
Been used to great effect to, you know, secure some DQs, but it's gonna be a nice opening kill for Blanket. Gets the wall down, allows the team to rotate over under Tube. Takes his duel with Acleus. Not quite able to secure anything. Will spot Hope Flame. It's really, really scrappy. Both come out, I think, just about a full health. There you go, Hope Flame with the Tour de Force is gonna try to do something. They find Blanket, completely isolated from the rest of the team, and now we're gonna be in this post-plant situation. There we go. Showstopper invested. Will find Envy. There's no wall down for the attackers. There's no wall available for the defenders. It's just going to be an all-out brawl. The Hunter's Fury does some damage, not enough. Only gets the information. Now they're just going to have to keep him off. Alexander's doing the best they can, but it's a 2v1 situation. Will swing through, doesn't get it. Cracked, secures it. Hud Flame gets the defuse. It's going to be close, but they were able to secure it. Bring us to 3-3.
But it's really pretty balanced and even across the board, and even when a round goes one way or the other, it has still been rather even. That was unbelievably close for Alexander to be able to pull that out. Cracked was down on 30 HP, and of course, Hudfame was committed to that defusal there, because of course, if they hadn't, they were definitely riding down their time, maybe a little bit too close to comfort. So yeah, Unify is definitely going to have to pull something out of their back pocket here to hopefully stop the constant back and forth. And of course, Hitbox has managed to pick up the past 2 rounds, and Hunfame picking up that Operator is definitely going to be scary coming into.
Omni actually making their way over towards A. The Tour de Force was popped, but seeing all this utility being invested over towards B, they're not going to run into anyone because the rotation will really help. But Acleus taking down Blake, that is going to be a massive hit to them. The Viper Wall is going to follow suit. They're getting themselves into a fine position. Wolfie as well, finding that kill is huge for them. The heals come out, the walls come down, and now they're in a really solid position to just get this defuse through. Do deny the full defuse. It's at halfway. The duel comes through. Hud Flame comes up on top in a chamber B chamber duel. Whew. Chaos.
All
over
right.
the site.
Absolutely. And so, you know, we talked about in the previous map when we were all spectating Unify that constantly both of those teams were going back and forth and trying to play the retake, and neither one was really having a great time with it. But it looks like Hitbox has had some rather nice conversion when it comes to playing for that retake. They really have Unify's number right now, and being able to pick up 3 consecutively, although it looks rather even right now in the rounds, being able to pick up 3 in a row definitely put you in quite the nice advantage. So if you're a fan of Hitbox, you're definitely looking at the current situation pretty positively.
Actually, you are absolutely correct. And it's actually be a pretty aggressive hit over onto A.
Ooh.
Alexander, though, only with a Sheriff, is going to lose that duel. Now the attack is stalled. The walls come down, makes it very difficult to push through. The weapon disadvantage is making it hard to deal with. That's yet another one going into the hands of Cracked. And now, Envy gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do. Envy does find one to try to bring it back to level, but Cracked is Cracked. Finds their third. The round is searching for Envy. Now in a position they might not be expecting. They don't. Cracked finds 4. Coming alive here to bring, I mean, it is an anti-eco, but still brings us 5-3. It's really the first time so far this map that we've really seen a team get us solidly. It's been pretty back and forth.
Yeah, definitely pretty back and forth in the very beginning, but as of right now, man, picking up 4 in a row, it's definitely looking a little dicey right now for Unify. Of course, 5-3, this is not in any means a concrete scoreline or anything like that. They can easily manage to pull themselves back, but it looks like Hitbox has managed to kind of find the solution to the equation that Unify's throwing at them. Unify loves holding that aggression, taking space rather quickly, or did in the last game at the very least, and it looks like Hitbox just has such a stalwart defense that it's difficult for Unify to do what they want to.
Absolutely. He's
Ooh,
looking a little bit
cracked.
tragic. Cracked, coming alive in the last few
Wow.
rounds. Finds one, tries to take that duel, will run into the barrel of Envy. Tigers finds one themselves as well. It is a 3v4 HUD Flame. The operator just waiting for this possible rotate, and it looks like they might just catch it. The attack is reconsidering their options here, and you have to decide they want to go through on this rotate. HUD Flame might just be waiting for them, but it's gonna have to be down to this patience.
Definitely sitting and lying in wait for any prey to cross into his crosshair. This is definitely a decent angle to hold, but maybe not as amazing considering it looks like Unify is wanting to explode onto the point right now.
Absolutely, and because HUD Flame
Ooh.
is now no longer in a position, that
Ooh.
puts them in a pretty
down
good
A.
spot to just
30 seconds
completely
left.
take sight. It was a 3v2. They come out on
Spike
top,
planted.
2v1 situation overall now, and HUD Flame has the operator. And they're going to do what they did before, but now without the Sage, going to make this far more likely of winning. Much less chance of it being snuck. Hunter's Fury is available.
Enemy
They're
remaining.
expecting the tap. And there we go, one goes down. Skull has to come through. HUD Flame is going to tank that. It's going to be close.
Wait,
No, they're gonna sneak it! Alexander,
Oh, that's
what's
so
the kill?
unfortunate.
Doesn't matter. Tragedy. Tragedy on Icebox.
I was just about to say that Unify was able to shatter the momentum of Hitbox, but that commitment to the defusal of the spike, they managed to pick up another once again, and sitting here and looking at the rounds that they've managed to pick up, 5 consecutively, and 4 out of those 5 have been defusals. Their retake have been absolutely amazing, and it looks like Unify's post-plant has not been stellar, to say the very least, and maybe they should be playing for a little bit more aggression. They should be trying to take down more players on the side of Hitbox to make sure that it is a much more convincing win in round, but Hitbox just has the confidence to take these plays right now, especially HUD Fame pushing up rather aggressively through mid to take out Omni, and that is not where you want to be if you're Unified.
Push comes through. One of the attackers falls, make that 2. Quagger lurking up behind, finds one. We don't know if Quagger's pushing forward. Chamber being down, the trademark is useless. Quagger is actually just waiting pretty patiently. Go down. And yet again, we're seeing both the Viper's pits invested all at once. The spray through comes. They find
Spike down B.
the planter. Blanky though. Sage with the
Ooh,
operator
timing.
finds the value.
Timing.
Only one left standing is the defenses.
30 seconds left.
Blanky still finding kills with that operator. Sarah has nothing in terms of health. Literally nothing. And now
Spike
actually has
down,
nothing.
B.
As that is going to be Sarah is now Flanky.
Enemy remaining.
Finds another.
No,
10
don't
seconds
do
left.
it.
Finally!
Oh, that is so unfortunate. I'm not even entirely certain if Blanking knew that Hunfade had the operator, because I have a feeling if they did, I'm not sure why they would re-peek there. That's so unbelievably unfortunate. Hitbox has now managed to take 6 in a row. We are getting rather close coming up to the end of the first half, and luckily we did manage to see in the previous map that they are a second half team. They managed to come online with that attacking side. Now, mind you, that might have been a point of composition rather than, you know, warming up. So, unfortunately, if Hitbox's momentum is not broken here, it's going to be rather rough for Unify, but that's an amazing pick to start it off. Right. Oh.
With it, only damage, and that pop flash coming out from Dunsera is so effective, finds the 1 kill. Omni not able to
One
secure a
enemy
kill.
remaining.
Cracked. taking a little bit of damage, but still can do some damage themselves. It's gonna be a 1v3. Phantom in hand. Now suppressed. They're gonna have to do something about it. They'll swing through, they'll find
One
Omni.
enemy
Take that
remaining.
goal, get Dunkzera as well. 1v1.
Wall raised. I
The
will
wall
not
comes
die.
through. Oh, that snake bite is lasting just long enough. They will get killed. They won't get DQ though. Cannot have your cake and eat it too, unfortunately.
Oh man, that is definitely beneficial for Unify to be able to
round
pull
in
that
the
out,
half.
but man was it costly. Luckily they'll be able to come in with a full buy, of course, but oh, that was a scrappy end to a round. And coming into the closing round of the first half, if you are Unify, you of course want to be able to take this round in your direction and make sure that it is a 7-5 scoreline.
Absolutely, that is the best case situation coming up for Unify. Especially as technically this is their off round, but this is the off half. This is technically the off half for both of these teams. Both are built for the opposing side, so taking as many rounds as we can in this off half is gonna be very, very important. Spike is gonna go down. It was actually almost a full stack over towards A. And now we're seeing yet another retake situation, but it's going to be a 5v5. And it's going to be almost full utility coming in from the side of Hitbox. To be able to do a lot here.
Alright, man, post plant. Gonna be difficult to break.
There we go. It's going to be very difficult, especially as Blank still holds that operator. Because of the weakness coming out from the snake
No.
bite. Able to get the kill, the mowdown comes through.
Oh,
Comes through as well. It's coming down to the final milliseconds, but they get it. Half finishes 8-4. Hitbox.
Switching sides.
Nice clean retake. A little bit messy, but at the end of the day, a win's a win.
a win is a win, and of course that was the very end of that half, so it didn't particularly matter if it was messy or not, because they weren't going to be able to take any of their abilities or credits into the next round with them. And like you were saying before, both of these compositions favored the opposite side. And so now we are going to see both teams on what is their favorite side, so I'm interested to see if maybe Unify can start to come online, because that is what they managed to do in the previous map that we saw. But Hitbox definitely seems like a different
they have my
giant
attention.
right now. And Unify might have to change a few things up if they want to be able to come out on top here.
There they are.
Yeah, that is absolutely the case here.
Toxins going up.
This round comes through. Nowhere near as aggressive as the last one. I say that, though, as
Toxin
Blank
screen
does
down.
push all the way up. It's not spotted by the chamber trip yet, but off the site they could
Ooh.
push through, and that could be very, very dangerous as it splits them in half. Spike goes way down.
Start. Definitely a good start for Unify.
Trying to stop. Rotate. Will take duel.
Spike down. Attacker
Barely
spawn.
win it out, but will win it out nonetheless. 4v3. Now the attack is a little bit separate. They're finally making their way over towards B. It looks like they're going to go for this B side hold, but gotta be a little bit tricky. They do still
Teleport's
have the
ready.
Sage while they can drop. Aqueous might just be in a
Spike
position
planted.
to cause some trouble. They might not expect them to still be on that side of the wall. Yes, they will, but
Ooh.
through, and it goes in favor of Aqueous. They'll try to take this. Very unfortunate. Will come out the losing side. Now, with the Headhunter not able to find it, 3v2.
One enemy remaining.
Oh!
2v1 as Cracks, yet again living up to their name, finds 2 with the classic.
There was a
Best
double
worst
kill with the right
gun
click.
in the game. Yeah, absolutely. And there we go. Off of nothing. Off the back of a right click with the classic. They
Oh,
turn nothing
no.
into something the other round.
That solid chest bump at the end between Cracked and Hudfame. This is not where you want to be if you're Unified, because now you're coming into the expectation that, of course, they're going to win this round. And if they do, that is going to be a scoreline of 10-4. Hitbox finally coming into double digits, meaning that they only would have 3 more rounds until that is the end of the map. And you would expect them to be able to pick up this one. Man, Unify is not in a very good position right now. They have to try and minimize the amount of damage they take here and maximize the amount of damage that they deal towards Hitbox. This is looking a little rough.
Some interesting plays here from the defense. Alexander, unfortunately, having to walk through their own slow orb. Maybe to try to, fake it out, make them not expect it. But, I mean, it comes up on top. They take some damage, but they, in trade, get the kill on the Wolfie. There's going to be a pretty big hit to their ability to entry into a site. And Blanky, waiting patiently. They might just be able to catch an overzealous attacker out. But it looks like the attackers are positioning for a B hit, maybe a B through mid. Nope, just a B hit, right down B main.
A straight B hit, absolutely. It looks like they're just going to take this rather aggressively, pouring a little bit of util to try and clear the cubbies.
Ball goes up, Sage, slow board goes down, the wall follows suit, and Spike follows as well.
30 seconds left.
So that Sage ball
Spike
is
planted.
almost immediately gets shot down.
Ooh.
Omni tries to get the kill, tries to swing through, but doesn't quite find it. And now Hudflame in a pretty good position to cause some damage. Top flash comes through, Rendezvous out. Ooh.
There.
Bolt doesn't find anything. The quick flick. The defenders are running out of time. They're running out of space. As everything they've taken is slowly retaken by the defenders. Hudflame coming alive.
Oh my goodness. This is looking a little dangerous right now, and I know, of course, with the scoreline closing out 8-4, it was already looking dangerous, but we were hoping, considering, Unify was coming onto their much stronger half, considering the fact that they don't have a duelist, right? So, of course, that attack was going to be a little bit more difficult, but hopefully they should be able to lock down a site much more convincingly, but
Take out their
10-4 is not where you want to be, and it looks like Unify is going to need to win the next couple of rounds if they want to stay competitive in the current map and keep themselves in the tournament. Oof.
Now it's going to come all down to this. Tiger finds that opening kill. That's not what the defense wants to see. They need to get back into this, and losing one of their fellow teammates is not the smart way to get that started.
No.
Finds another. It's all collapsing at the seams. Alexander's able to pull one back into their favor. Envy as well. Coming alive. Finds 2. Acleus, though, finds 3 themselves. It's a 2v1. The rifle disadvantage has faded away.
Welcome to my world.
As well, secures the Viper's pit. Drops it. But they don't have Spike. They use it to secure the Spike. Looks like
Really interesting.
go down. It's a very interesting position to be in. Acleus gets caught out. The pit drops. But Hudflame, with the headhunter, finds the kill. Picks up the bonus round. It was looking a little scary before, but now it's looking dangerous. This hitbox secure their bonus round. Pick up 3 in a row. Start marching on the map point.
Hudfame's mechanics are just amazing. He is a pure beast right now. He's at 18-8. Definitely an interesting pause coming out from Hitbox. I'm wondering if that has to do anything with. I'm not sure actually exactly the reason why they would be doing a timeout here, unless there's something that's going on internally within the team that they're needing to discuss. But I mean, momentum is firmly in their favor. They're doing amazingly, 11-4. I really hope that we don't see a break in momentum on behalf of themselves.
Yeah, a little unfortunate. I mean, when one team calls a timeout, the other team gets one as well. So,
Right.
Usually you see it to, reset momentum. That's the key thing. Either, you're down and out and you either need to get that reset mentally, or you just need to reset that momentum, or you know, the enemy picks up a round or two in a row and you want to shut that off before they can get the momentum
Right.
under their feet. But now they've picked up 4 in a row, 3 of the first 3 in the
Mhm.
half.
Weapon here.
Like you said, that might just work against them here. And really hope not, seeing as this has been a really, really solid map for him.
Unify is having to really, really low buy and kind of play an econ round here, which is rather unfortunate because that means they're playing for essentially the expectation that they're going to be playing at 12-4. But when you have players like, playing K and whatnot, it doesn't particularly matter. Securing a Vandal in here.
Yeah, no, but after finds that straight
There.
through on the blank A, so that Vandal, just as quickly as it gets into the hands of the defense, is immediately removed by force, of course. And now it looks like they're poking, seeing if maybe B is an option. They're gonna run into Indy.
Oh,
Revealing area.
Run into, take out, very similar, concepts as the attack comes through on the B, and Spike, I don't even think went down. It just immediately pushed through and taken out. And now, like I said before, we are now officially on to map point, which is going to be going right into the semis. This
Right,
is
and
all or nothing for Unicorn.
right, and I would normally say at the very least they didn't make it a flawless and they managed to get a little bit of damage on the board. They had taken out Lion K, but it didn't particularly matter. They're at match point right now, and of course
Blind their
Hitbox's
scout.
economy is more than padded. So if they were to lose this, they'd still be able to come back just as strong. Oh, this is looking rough. Unify has to pull some sort of miracle to make this work right now.
Absolutely. The wall goes down pretty early. It's going to try to hold off this defense, but you can only do so much when Crack is just pushing through and finding 2, despite taking
Shut down.
disadvantage duels, though Alexander tries to pull them back into it. Now, 3v3.
Right
They're going
here.
to have to do something here. It looks like they're still leaning over towards
You
this
will not
B side.
harm my
Oh, that is definitely something that is going to be the res coming out on the Wolfie. The Hunter's Fury gets invested in response, doesn't really find anything in particular. And now it looks like, seeing that it came from B site, they're just going to make their way and see if possibly A site is open for them. And little surprise, yeah, it is. There's not going to be a single soul over there. Only Envy is going to be able to make their way.
Oh, they're definitely playing a little worried right now because Unify recognizes that they can't lose anybody else, and so they have one
30
body
seconds left.
on each of the pivotal sections of the map, A, B, and mid, trying to make sure and hopefully get a little bit of info on where Hitbox is, but
Ooh, there we go. Tiger finds that kill. Another foot in the grave here for
Oh
them.
my
Wolfie finds
goodness.
another
Face your
1v4 on the... Has to do it all. Has to do something here. Is going to get hit by the Nightfall. The decay comes through. The silence. The Prowler being tracked. Now, it's an impossible situation for them. I mean, they're going to need more than a miracle. They're going to need an act of God, but God's not
Attackers
coming
win.
as Hitbox come out on top.
my goodness. We had seen Unify previously, and they had looked pretty good coming into that second half in the last map, but just the pure mechanical prowess coming out in Hitbox just skyrocketed them to being able to pretty convincingly take the entirety of Icebox, and wow, do they deserve to go to the next round, especially with a showing like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about how it was a little bit, scrappy, a little bit back
Mm-hmm.
and forth at the very beginning. They picked up 3 of the opening 4 rounds. That was immediately followed by a 6-round win streak coming out from
Right.
Hitbox. They were able to,
Ooh.
take 1,
Mhm.
on the, or excuse me, yeah, the 11th round, math again, of the half. But that was the only other round they were able to pick up in the entire map. It
Right.
looked solid for them up until it just all collapsed.
Mhm.
And even despite, that one timeout that we both got a question, like maybe
Mhm.
that's just enough what they need to get back into it, it didn't really matter. Hitbox just absolutely dominated.
There's only so much you can do when every single member of Hitbox was just hitting their shots back to back. They were honestly living up to their names and whatnot. They made sure to lock down the hitbox at every single twist and turn, and they honestly deserve that win convincingly. Amazing teamwork, amazing gunplay all around. That was a great, great showing.
Absolutely. And they're going to have to put on an even greater showing because now they're going to be moving
Mhm.
on to the semifinals here for the Weekday Warriors series. They're going to be going up against some of the best competition that we have yet. We've taken a look at the teams that are fighting for it. Don't quite know which one they're going to be facing up next, but all of the teams are high caliber, so they're going to have to bring their A game. They had a pretty easy ride here, only dropping 4 rounds, but they're going to have to do it again, and then again if they want to bring it home for I believe it was a $375 cash prize pool for this tournament today. So even greater than the previous Weekday Warriors. So everything is on the line. We're going to be taking a short break before we go into the semis. But before we do, it's announcement time. You know what
Of
time it
course,
is
of
coming
course.
up for IGL. We do have the solos arenas over on our website, private match making. You first 100 people to sign up get their first month for free. At the end of the month, you get some cool prizes if you do well. Come sign up, get some prizes. It's going to be a great time. End of the month, you already know the dates. It's the 27th, the 28th of August. It's going to be the $1,000 cash prize tournament sponsored by the Neon Black. It's gonna be a great time, great Valorant. If you're enjoying what you're seeing today, it's only gonna be better then. So come check it out, and of course, all the other cool stuff that we have in plan. Some again that haven't even been released yet, but will be soon. But you can check all those out over on our socials, the website, and the Discord, where you can get all the information on the IG League. But that's all the announcements I have for this section. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with some even greater action as we go into the semifinals.